Morning, Reading Facebook Live friends and all the ones that are showing up here today. We welcome you to our service. Dr. Mary is speaking today on the infinite invisible. And I'm Reverend Sue in service today. Charlie's here as well. If anyone needs prayer support, we are here to be that for you. So right now, let's just start it off with the beautiful opening song from our Dalton.
The day of the Lord, when the divinity returns to us, when living our free will, and with all the power of our spirit, we decide to live our lives in free communion with God, with no expectations. We will live our lives with gratitude, love, loyalty, and justice, beginning with ourselves and continuing with our brothers and sisters. We will respect all creation as the symbol of our love, communion with the one who created us to the eternal happiness of humanity.
So beautiful, and such a joy for all of you get to witness Dalton live, and a little bit later, Judy. So yeah, feels good. Feels good to fill our halls with some human energy. We've been speaking to the void, just the five of us for a long time. So right now, let's just welcome each other by just a namaste to each other here, but turn around as Lindy scans you and lets the people at home know that you have arrived, that you are here. So give a big wave, give big love to anybody at home that is watching and getting ready for service today. Yeah. And that back there, for those of you that are looking at her, that's my daughter, Lindy. Lindy Miller Castro. She is taking the role of sound team lead for a while she's living in the North States. So we appreciate her so much for being here. And I wanted to, if you were walking in, you might have noticed the beautiful bake sale. Some of these goods are quite decadent and lovely, and we invite you to participate. It's a small fundraiser, as we thought what a beautiful thing to do. We love to eat. We can't go to the social hall yet, so we'll eat as we go home. Just stuff our faces with sugar. Yeah, get all hyper for the rest of the day. There's that going on, and as well as the jewelry collection for Marketplace later on in April, and the collection of food, both the pet food for the pets of the homeless, we're doing that again, and also One Safe Place. Last time our food donation was overwhelming, and so we're collecting perishable goods, and we'll be doing that until noon today. So that's what's happening there. And next week we have Greg Lavoie. And he cannot come in person because due to the COVID restrictions on him. So he's already sent a beautiful message to all of us to be playing during the service. And then he'll be present in a Zoom live presentation for his workshop. And he's really looking forward to meeting with all of us through that workshop, because he said this message that he's been sharing about the call of these challenging times has really been well received, and people have found great comfort in his message. Also, next Saturday, the 20th, the SOAR group is doing Central Trails, including the Sacramento River Trail Loop, Lake Redding Park, and a river trail to Turtle Bay. So this community continues to build. They do honor the masks and the distancing between each other, but it's a great celebration to be in the fresh air and enjoy nature. And then finally, February 27th, I am joining Dr. Andrea from the Bellingham Center. Her church and our church are coming together as one through Zoom, and we're presenting a one-day retreat called Pilgrimage of the Spirit. It'll be online via Zoom, and we invite you to pre-register so you can get that information. And it's going to be a lovely day the Saturday the 27th, starting at 8:30 in the morning. So those are some of the general announcements, and just again, it's just good to see you, and appreciate Doug and Charlie setting up your chairs so you feel safe and comfortable. We do need to keep the doors open for airflow for your safety, and we appreciate the masks as they continue to protect us. So the idea of turning off your cell phones is still in place, so if we could do that. And it looks like I know everybody. So if there was anybody new, there's a friendship packet for you to pick up on your way out. So right now, that's enough of all of that. We have Dalton doing our reading today. Charlie will invite the bell, we'll do a prayer, and we'll move into our message for today.
Good morning. The reading this morning comes from Deepak Chopra's book, You Are the Universe. This is a participatory universe that depends for its very existence on human beings. The universe is living, conscious, and evolving. This conscious universe responds to how we think and feel. It gains its shape, color, sound, and texture from us. It is a real universe, the only one we have. Everything you see around you needs your participation. You are touched by the cosmos every minute of the day. Mind, as manifested by the capacity to make choices, is to some extent inherent in every atom. Chopra wrote that Einstein hit upon a deep truth when he said, "I want to know the mind of God, everything else is just details." For Chopra, substituting the purpose of the universe for the mind of God is a goal worth pursuing for a lifetime.
The sound of the bell has brought you home, to your spiritual home. And we recognize the message today about the invisible, the infinite invisible. We recognize this space, this power has kept us connected throughout this past year. No matter where we were, this presence of love was supporting you, holding you, ushering you through whatever challenge or joy you were celebrating or moving through. So we give thanks for that invisible presence that we cannot seem to touch or speak to in any other way, but with great love and affection. We feel it. We feel its essence. It drives us in our spiritual journey. For that we give thanks. It shows up through the music in our halls. It shows up through the gifts of food that others have brought forward to you. It shows up in the way that we are in service to the community and to the pets of the homeless. This invisible good, this invisible love that is so tangible, and it allows us just to continue to hold together as a body of love in this world, in this time. So I give deep gratitude for the way we have moved through every moment. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. With great humility, we continue to be carried in the grace. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you, Judy. Dr. Mary.
Sue, that was really beautiful and just so appropriate to this talk that I've had a lot of fun preparing. It brings me to a lot of times in my life, the infinite invisible. You know, it's what's behind everything that we see in the universe, the infinite invisible. Its power, it's invisible to our eyes, but it's in nature. It's in the nature of how the universe was created. We've all been blessed with this life, and I'm grateful for knowing that the universe is made up of energy, and this energy operates and is in creative alignment with the natural laws of science, nature, and our reality. You may not recognize it, but you reorganize your energy every day, just like I do. You know, some days just fly by when I'm really busy doing things that I love, like being here in the office or doing prayer with people or many of the activities that I do that I just love. Some mornings I'm out in the wetlands near our home taking pictures of birds, and that makes me exceptionally happy. But some days life goes very slow, and it's usually when my day is so full I don't have time to be creative. So maybe you recognize that in yourself. The interesting thing about the infinite invisible is that it's in your living room couch. It's in the plaque or the painting on the wall. It's in your light bulbs. It's in your animals. It totally surrounds you. And you know, when I sit in the living room, I love my living room couch, and I sit there and it's all energy. It's all the presence of God. It starts to feel a little crowded. I want to walk outside and just experience that. So just remember, wherever you are, the infinite invisible is there. It's in the sunlight, it's in the moonlight, it's in rainbows. And I was thinking, every cell of my body has that divine spark, that invisible, infinite energy. And it's keeping me healthy. Every cell is whirling around with energy 24/7. And science recognizes that energy cannot be destroyed or created. It just changes direction. It's like when you put a pot of boiling water on the stove and it goes from cold water to hot water to boiling water. That kind of steam is what runs turbine engines in many, many facilities, many manufacturing plants. But you can also take that water and put it in the freezer and use it to cool your summer drinks. Or you can boil it on the stove and put it in with some cocoa and have a nice hot chocolate in the winter. In Reading, we have a utility that takes natural gas to run turbines to create electricity, so I could use a hairdryer this morning on my hair. So we often forget all these processes of energy in our lives, energy in all directions. I'm teaching a class for budding practitioners, and it's a huge commitment by the students. They'll be taking 60 classes in 10-week increments over a period of 2 years. That's a lot. And every week they have reading assignments and writing assignments and doing prayer work with each other. And when the 2 years is over, they have to go in front of a panel of ministers who are going to question them to see if they're ready to be licensed as a practitioner. So it's a huge commitment. But I love the work. And right now they're reading 4 books just in this 10-week segment: Science of Mind, Living the Science of Mind, The Principles of Healing, and Practicing the Presence. That's the essence, practicing the presence. This week we finished class number 16. And that's a number I'm going to be remembering for a long time. Class number 16 in these 60 weeks, 60 classes. For weeks we've been talking about the creative process, God, infinite intelligence, and that energy is always responding to us. I like the way Holmes opened up the workbook on this 16th class. A practitioner is a spiritual mind adventurer in the almost unexplored country of absolute cause. Absolute cause. It's only as the students throw themselves with complete abandonment into the consciousness of realization that their words become effective. It's cultivating a conscious realization of our awareness that we live in and have the ability to be, recognize, feel we are in the presence of God. So as we align ourselves with that, we systematically strive to see God wherever we are, whether it's in the grocery store or driving down the highway. In the most adverse circumstances, we can calm our mind and really put ourselves in the presence of the One. Each week in class, we begin with an affirmation, then we do a meditation, and then we share how our week went. Well, I'll tell you, this week, class 16, it was amazing how each student had a profound awakening, a profound realization of their relationship with the infinite. One described how she found herself saying things out of alignment, if you're in the presence of God, saying things that don't show that you recognize you're in the presence of God. And she found herself automatically correcting herself. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because as she did that, the happier she got. She realized that she couldn't really say anything negative about someone who slighted her, because with that person, she was in the presence of God. Another student who had been meditating once a day tried meditating twice a day, and whoa, amazing things happened. Wonderful things happened. She was hoping for, praying for, knowing she was financially successful. And on her walk, she found two $50 bills that day. So she started meditating 3 times a day. And she said, "It's fantastic. I feel so good." Another student, realized that every time she was inclined to criticize a member of her family, in no way was she living in the presence of God. So she began to look for good in everyone, including every family member, and her week was so much happier. And the 4th student began to realize that if the presence of God is in everything, it's in my TV, it's in my car. And she began to express gratitude for everyone that had a handle in making her TV and creating her car. Because it takes thousands of people with little ideas, incremental ideas, to do these things. And it reminded me of this essay. And some of you came in, and we didn't have enough for everyone. Some of you came in and you were able to get a pencil. Okay, the simple pencil. So I want to share part of an essay. It's a long essay, so I'm just going to share part of it, and it's called I, Pencil. It was written by Leonard Read, published in 1964. It's a much longer edition. I'm just going to give you the short version. He wrote, "As a writer, I found myself contemplating the miraculous makeup of the ordinary pencil that I held in my hand. A thought flashed by. I bet there isn't a person on earth that can create a pencil. If this could be demonstrated that not one person can create a pencil, it would help to make clear to the world that manufacturing is a manifestation of the creative energies of everybody who had the simplest idea on making a really good pencil." He said, "This is spiritual phenomena. All the ideas and thoughts that went into creating what we know is a simple yellow pencil. So he spent a day, he said it was a not-to-be-forgotten day, at a pencil factory. He began at the receiving dock. He looked at all the different processing places in the mill, and he thought, I can't write a good enough article about making a pencil, so I'm going to let the pencil talk for itself. All right. I am a lead pencil. An ordinary wooden pencil, familiar to anyone who can read and write. Writing is my vocation and my avocation. I have no other thing to do. My story is interesting because I'm a mystery, more so than a tree or a sunset or even a flash of lightning. But sadly, I'm taken for granted by all those who use me. But I have a rich background. I, pencil, simple though as I appear, I merit your wonder and your awe. And I claim to attempt to prove it. If you can become aware of the miraculous, the miracles that I symbolize, I have a profound lesson to teach you. I can teach this better than an automobile or an airplane because I'm so simple. Not one person on the face of the earth knows how to make me. Yet there are 1.5 billion of my kind, my pencils, produced every year in the United States. Pick me up, look me over. What do you see? There's some wood, there's some lacquer, there's a little bit of printing on this one, there's some graphite lead, and a bit of metal, and an eraser. Let me share my family tree. It begins with a cedar tree, straight grain cedar tree in Northern California and Southern Oregon. Now contemplate all the trucks, the saws, the ropes, the gears used in harvesting that tree, carting the tree to the railroad line. Think of all the people and the immense number of skills it takes to do all that. The mining of the ore that went into this equipment, the making of steel, saws, axes, motors, the growing of hemp in order to create strong rope, the logging camps, the loggers, the beds, the mess halls, all the food that has to be grown to feed the loggers. Well, there are untold thousands of people who go into making a cup of coffee that the loggers drink. So the logs are shipped to a mill. Now this was in 1964. He says to a mill in San Leandro. But I'm going to just take an aside here because when I came to California to buy wood from sawmills for the power plant, I went to the cedar mill in McLeod. That mill at that time made 90% of the pencils manufactured in the US. It all started at P&M Cedar in McLeod, and one of the managers was Harry Bliley. I know. So I'm going to call him this afternoon and said, Harry, I talked about your pencils, and I think he'll get a real kick out of that. So consider the mill work. And I have a picture that I'm going to show you. You probably won't be able to see much of it. But you can Google pencil slats when you get home. Starts with cutting a block of wood, slicing it in 1/4-inch slices, putting little grooves down there so that they can put in the lead, and then they take off every pencil. Let's see where I'm. Okay, so the mill work. So they're cut into blocks, cut into pencil-length slats. I thought I had one. I couldn't find it. They're 1/4 inches in diameter. They're kiln dried, and then they're waxed and kiln dried again. And you have to think about who supplied the heat? Who supplied the boiler? What about the power, the belts, the motors, all the things in that mill that made it possible to create a pencil slat? And he says, the sweepers in the mill are also part of my ancestry, as well as the men who poured concrete for the dam where PG&E had a hydro plant that supplied the mill's power. In the factory, it takes over $4 million in machinery to create each little pencil slat. After that, you lay the lead in it, you apply glue, you place another slat on top, and you make a sandwich. And he says, 7 brothers and I are made out of every pencil sandwich out of those slats. I thought that was cute. The lead contains no lead at all. It's graphite mined in Ceylon by miners who make their tools, and there are people who make paper sacks to put this graphite in. There are people that make the strings to tie around the sacks. There are people who put them aboard ship. There are people who make those ships. That in itself has millions of hands in it. And even the lighthouse keepers and the harbor pilots assist me in my birth. The graphite is mixed with clay from the Mississippi River, which ammonium hydroxide is used in the refining process. After passing through many machines, it kind of looks like a sausage factory with this lead coming out at the end. It's cut, dried, baked at 1,850 degrees for several hours. It increases the strength. It increases the smoothness. Then they're treated, this graphite, with candelilla wax from Mexico and paraffin wax that comes from hydropower. Anyway, you'll know. Anyway, then it receives 6 coats of lacquer. What goes into making lacquer? A lot. And who grew the castor beans and the refiners of castor oil that are part of that? Then there's the labeling. On this one, there's not too much, but usually you have a company name on a pencil. It's formed by applying heat to carbon black mixed with resins. How do you make resins? I don't know. And then there's this little piece of brass. Think of all the people who mine zinc and copper, and those who have the skills to make really thin sheets of brass. And then there's my crowning glory. It's called the plug. It's used as an eraser of what I'm used for, an eraser. But it's an ingredient called fast ice that does the erasing. It's a rubber-like product made by mixing rapeseed oil from the Dutch East Indies with sulfur chloride. Rubber is only used in the binding process. The pumice comes from Italy, and the pigment that gives the plug its color is from cadmium sulfide. Does anyone wish to challenge my early assertion that no one single person on the face of the earth knows how to make me? Actually, millions of people have had their hand in me in making this creation. And no one knows much more than the person next to them. They don't know the whole process, including the president of the pencil company, who just has a little know-how in how to manage a company. There are tiny, infinitesimal bits of know-how, different from the logger, from the ship pilot, different from the graphite mined in Ceylon. They all have little bits of know-how. That's the creative process. And every once in a while, somebody gets an aha moment. I spent time in meditation, and guess what? I know how to do this even better. That's what our training, practitioners in training are experiencing. And there's still a more astounding fact: the absence of a mastermind. No mastermind is dictating or forcibly dictating the countless actions that grow into being a pencil. There is no trace of a person that can be found. No government that said, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, and we're going to end up with a pencil. This is the mystery. This is the invisible hand at work. Now, it's been said that only God can make a tree, but why do we agree with this? Because we couldn't make one. We could plant one, but we can't make one. But I, pencil, am a complex combination of miracles. A tree, zinc, copper, graphite, and so on. These miracles manifest themselves in nature. And the extraordinary miracle has been the creative energy of human beings. Millions of tiny know-hows spontaneously responded to a desire by humans to have an instrument to write with. So only God can make a tree? I say only God can make me. I, pencil, seemingly simple though I am, offer the miracle of my creation as testimony that this is a practical faith. As practical as the sun, the rain, the cedar tree, and the good earth. End of that essay at this point. So science does have proof that it's all energy, including the human race, everything in, through, and around us. And various faiths around the world concur with that. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can just be changed. From working as water to going to steam to running a turbine to create a mill to cut some wood and on and on and on. So the direction of the use of energy is what can be changed. So in the present moment, as our practitioner students are learning, we have to be the guardian of our mind, the guardian of our words, of our beliefs. Even on a cold day, express more gratitude. More gratitude. We don't have the feet of snow they have back east. Really gratitude about that. Because when we express gratitude, we enjoy a richer day, a richer life. We see things with a little more positivity. So we see religion of science, the science of religion, and here we have the science of mind. It's all wrapped together very beautifully. So I totally trust the universe. There's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing really to worry about other than where is our mind going? Mind, oh mind. James used to say, mind, oh mind, where are you going? Come back here. It can get a little out of hand sometimes. Bring it back to the presence of God. And I invite you on this happy Valentine's Day to take some time with your loved ones wherever they are and feel the presence of God in that relationship you have with them. I guess it's time to pray or I'm going to cry. We are all one. You know, when James was in the army and they sat him at a table in an embassy and said, when somebody comes through the door, you have to shoot them. He went to his boss and he said, you see this? This is God. And they let him out of the army. That's how powerful a pencil can be. So feel that everywhere in your life today. And be so grateful for those who love you and for those you love. There's an immense power there. And it's up to you how you use it. I'm so grateful for this teaching, for this wonderful man who looked at a pencil and went, wow, that's a miracle. They're happening around us every day. So with eyes wide open in this new year, on this Valentine's Day, we're so appreciative of being a child of God. Because that's the truth. And together we can say, and so it is. Thank you.
I was listening started watching shame and guilt come up as I realized how many pencils I've thrown away. I'm sorry. And now we're going to build an altar. We're going to do the endowment fund grants this year and build altars to pencils. That was a great story to follow and to feel. You know, it was just a great moment together, and all of you here. So thank you. Thank you, Mary. A lot of fun. So we're going to take a moment to just honor your gifts that you've been continuing to flow in our direction. We're just so filled with gratitude for that. We still are honoring the fact that we cannot stand up and sing together. We have to protect, especially our musician teams here. And there is that theory that there is a lot of spray with singing. So that's one of the things. If you don't understand why we're not singing, it's not because we are being party poopers. It's just one of the regulations that they're very strict on. But feel it in your heart. And allow yourself to take the music home in your own mind and hum it later and feel the grace of that. But if you feel the gifts that you have, if you have anything to offer today, there's baskets at each door for you to place your gift or your pencil. It's all a gift. And we recognize that gratefully I give with the attitude of abundance, knowing that as we give, we truly do receive without a doubt. So we give thanks for that. Every gift is a blessing. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to a closing song, and then we'll say goodbye, and you can rush out there and push each other over at 6 feet distance to get the cupcake you want.
And do feel free to stand up if you like. Just vibe with me now. That goes for you at home as well.
All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love now, all love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love, holy, holy. All God, holy, holy. All God, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is God, holy, holy. That's why all is world now, all one, holy, holy. All one, holy, holy. All in my know all is one. Holy, holy. We sing all good one more time. All wood, all good. Holy, holy. All good, all good. Holy, holy. I said, all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy. I said, all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy.
Thank you. And thank all of you. You know, Judy and Dalton are the glue, the loving glue that holds our services front and back. We give a message in between, but the beautiful sound of music and their beautiful voices continues to open our hearts. So I'm looking around and I'm thinking of that movie, Avatar, and I'm as emotional as Mary is because I see you. I really am seeing you, and it's been a long time. So I don't want to take this moment for granted, or you, my dear one. So God bless you. Thank you for showing up today. Take care of yourselves.